Hey folks, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, I'm sure many of you saw the news, and that is the big, beautiful bill has passed the House. It had previously passed in the Senate. So this is a done deal. And you may say, Tony, why are you talking to us about this? And I know there's a whole political aspect to this. There are many components that affect the lives of many people across the country, but that's not what this podcast is about. What we want to look at is the fact that the bill did pass and what are the implications to asset prices? Because when you're issuing this amount of debt to, with the spending, there's going to have to be money printing to pay for all this. How are they going to service the $5 trillion debt, right? So we will see global liquidity continue to rise. And if you look at the Fed's website with the M2 money supply, this thing is going parabolic. It's pretty incredible. And this is public data, by the way. You can go pull it up. And when you look at the 5-year timeline, you see that natural curvature, we're coming out of the hole of quantitative tightening, which started in about November of 2022. We went from quantitative tightening to pausing rate hikes to then starting to cut. And then eventually we're going to start to see full-on QE. Now, the Fed has been doing some quasi or pseudo QE recently with some liquidity injections, allowing banks to purchase more US Treasuries and all kinds of stuff. So we're starting to see liquidity rise in the United States, but even globally. And the global liquidity chart is what we've been tracking from over a year now and showing that Bitcoin's following it, and in addition to other risk assets, such as the stock market. So this big, beautiful bill is just going to add to it. And in fact, today, it's interesting, Tether, they minted $1 billion USDT. So you're seeing the Tether supply continue to rise. And of course, we're waiting for the Tether dominance to start breaking down, because that means that liquidity will start entering Bitcoin and altcoins. So the setup here is beautiful for the continuation of the bull market and for new highs to be made. And as I've been telling you guys, Bitcoin has to steal the show. Bitcoin has to grab all the liquidity in the market, pump to new highs, hit its overbought zone. Then the rotation of liquidity will happen down to the altcoins, to the large cap, mid caps, and small caps, of course. So this is how we've seen the market move historically. I don't make the rules. It's not if I like it or not. It's just what it is. And it may change over time, but the fact is it's moving like it has in previous bull markets. So we got to be patient. You should be rooting for Bitcoin, even if you don't hold it, because the higher it goes, the more liquidity enters Bitcoin, the more liquidity rotates down to the altcoins. So we need Bitcoin to do its thing here before we see altcoins like Ethereum, XRP, and others start to blast off and we see full on euphoria and greed. So be patient, folks. Things are moving ahead, and you look at the Bitcoin weekly chart, it looks bullish. The RSI shows more room for upside. It has not hit its overbought zone yet. And the MACD still green, showing the bulls have control. So things are setting up here. The big thing that trips up a lot of people is patience. They can't go through the cycles. They get so bored, they get impatient and all that. But this is investing. So you got to be able to handle these things to reap the rewards. And, another indicator, the S&P 500 continues to make new highs, and it is entering its overbought zone, but it still has room for upside here despite that, because we've seen the RSI go up to 80, 90, and so forth. It doesn't have to top out at 70, even though 70 is that threshold for the overbought. So the S&P 500 ripping, the NASDAQ ripping, we are seeing the perfect V-shaped recovery to the dismay of many of the doomers who are posting, it's over. See, I told you, bear market, but all the factors were in favor of a bull market, and this is why we don't move by sentiment or emotions or how we feel, but rather what is the data telling us. Now, folks, a quick word from our sponsor, and that is VeChain. VeChain is one of the top layer 1 enterprise blockchains. Many big companies and enterprises are building Web3 applications and solutions on the VeChain blockchain. Some of the key features of the VeChain blockchain includes it's secure, affordable, scalable, fast, and sustainable. They are partnered with enterprises such as PwC, one of the top 4 accounting firms in the world, BMW, Walmart China, Boston Consulting Group. They are also partnered with Dana White and the UFC, doing some great things. And folks, I'm a VET token holder. I have been since 2018. I'm bullish on this project. So if you'd like to learn more about VeChain, go to vchain.org. Link will be in the description. Now, folks, we have some very big news coming out from Ripple around the XRP ledger. So they just this evening tweeted out, Singapore continues to lead in blockchain innovation. Ripple and Tenity Global are set to launch an XRPL accelerator program to support builders and startups across APAC. This is a 12-week program with a focus on RWA tokenization, institutional DeFi, and AI plus blockchain, and up to $200,000 in funding. The accelerator reflects Ripple's continued commitment to driving utility and growth in APAC. Here's a quote from Fiona Murray, managing director of Ripple in the APAC region. She says, Singapore has firmly established itself as a forward-thinking leader in digital innovation. This accelerator will help cultivate new talent and unlock scalable use cases on the XRP ledger. So folks, this is really great. We see many blockchains, they do this, right? They help innovators and builders to come build on their respective blockchain. And that's very good because you could create new products, new use cases, new services, new solutions. And of course, you want to get more participants on your blockchain. So you want to help them do that. You have the grant program. And once again, Ripple's not the only one doing this. So we're going to talk about Ondo Finance actually doing the same thing. So very good. This is what you want to see if you're invested in a blockchain and holding the respective token, because you want to attract builders. This happens outside of crypto. You know, if you want someone to use your application or your platform, you go out and you pitch them, you offer grants, you hold hackathons, you have engineers and these folks who come to come build on your platform. So this is really great to see, and you want to be doing this globally. So they're, of course, targeting the APAC region to try to get folks there, because blockchain tech and the crypto asset class is a truly global market and industry. Now, I mentioned Ondo Finance, so $250 million Ondo Catalyst Fund signals arm race for RWA tokenization. So Ondo Finance and Pantera Capital are launching a $250 million fund to fuel tokenized real-world asset projects. Now, Ondo's been getting huge adoption. I am bullish on this project. I do hold the token. I added it to my portfolio. And you can see a lot of these guys are targeting RWA tokenization, just like Ripple is with the XRP ledger. So both companies informed Axios that the plan to invest $250 million in RWAs through a new fund called Ondo Catalyst. Ondo's chief strategy officer, Ian DeBode, says the funds will be invested to acquire equity stakes and tokens in emerging projects. So incredible stuff, folks. The race is on. Many blockchain projects looking to get as many builders, many companies and entrepreneurs and innovators to come on their blockchain. And that's what you want to see. Once again, if you're looking to invest in Ondo or the XRP ledger, and I hold both, and this is very good news. Now look at this news. Amber International raises $25.5 million to expand its $100 million crypto reserve strategy. So around the world, we are seeing many companies adding crypto to their balance sheet as a treasury strategy, and this trend continues to grow. Recently, I had the folks from Vivo Power on the podcast talking about, they are adding XRP to their balance sheet, and I had the CEO of DeFi Development Corp, which is adding Solana to their balance sheet. So you see what's happening here, folks. So let me give you some details. The firm is allocating capital into Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and other digital assets to support blockchain ecosystem growth. So Amber's crypto ecosystem reserve will back major blockchain networks and product development. Pantera Capital, King Key Financial among the investors in the $25.5 million private placement. The funds to support exposure to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, BNB, and SWI. That's a really good list of assets, pretty much some of the most liquid assets, and obviously in the top 10 to 12. So guys, I hope you see the direction the puck is heading in, and this trend is not going to die down. You're going to see more companies add crypto to their balance sheet. And as I've been saying, it starts with Bitcoin, and they will add more and more and more, especially those assets that are very liquid and that are getting a lot of adoption and price increase. So really great stuff here. Now, final news item, Bitstamp Exchange granted MAS license to operate in Singapore. So just the other day, I was telling you all about Coinbase in Europe and the different exchanges that are setting up shop with the EU MiCA regulations. So all of these companies are trying to get their licenses, set up shop, grab as much market share as possible. And this is great to see. They know what's coming, that this asset class is here to stay. A lot more capital is going to be coming in as legislation opens up around the globe. So this is really great that they got their license from the Singapore Monetary Authority. Now, many of you know Robinhood acquired Bitstamp Exchange. They completed the acquisition about a month ago. Since last year, we heard the news of them looking to acquire Bitstamp, but they had to go through the whole process and get everything set up. And, they're partnering with a powerhouse, which is Robinhood. So Bitstamp, keep an eye on them. And I had interviewed the CEO of Bitstamp US. I'll try to get him back on the podcast to talk about all these things, but it's incredible what's happening, folks. I'm excited. I mean, this is the blow off top year, in my opinion. It could bleed into 2026. We'll see, because we don't have a crystal ball, but we're going to follow the charts and the on-chain data and the macro closely to see where we're at, because no one can call the exact top, but we want to find out where the top zone is, right? I want to show you guys, hey, here are the metrics and signals that are flashing, that have flashed historically at the peak of markets, right? And we want to take profits and walk away from this bull market with money in our pockets. So that's what I'm here to do, to make money. I've been clear about that from day one. Obviously, I'm a believer in the technology and its potential and what it's going to do and change markets and so forth. I've been saying the markets, the government, the economies will run on blockchain rails. That's where we're headed to, the token economy, a lot of the traditional assets on the blockchain. So, folks, stick with me. Make sure you're subscribed. You got a notification bell enabled. Also subscribe to my free email newsletter. It's 100% free on Substack. I put a lot of information in there. You can go reference the recent newsletters to see all the charts and the data and the news, the important news items. So be sure to sign up. Also, check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital, and my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything about crypto. It is packed with value. Check it out. Folks, thank you so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.